Hello YouTube, it's Carrie Ann. Welcome back to the Nava Lapghan tutorial. In this video we're going to do the fifth and final pattern in the Lapghan, and that is this pattern right here. For this pattern you will need your color A, which is your background color. I'm using beige, and your color B, which is your pattern color, and I'm using red. You will also need your 5mm hook and a pair of scissors. And before we begin, I just want to tell you that normally I would post your stitches and rows right here in the video. You'd pause the video and jot that down. We're not doing that this time. So the pattern, the rows for this pattern are in the description. So just go down to the description of this video and you will see all 17 rows that you need for this pattern, and you can copy and paste on, or you can write them down. However you want to do it is fine. So again, go down to the description and you will see the instructions for all the rows for this pattern. Rows 1 and 2 are the same. So in row 1 we're using our color A, which is our background color, and it's a beginning border stitch, and then single crochet in the back loop only, 119, and an ending border stitch. Row 2 is the same, except you're switching your color to color B, which is your pattern color. So let's go ahead and get started. And we're going to start with our color A. Now, before we begin, this is where we left off in the last video. So we completed the 4th pattern. You should have also completed your 5 accent rows of single crochet. So those should be done before you start on this next pattern. So in row 1, and I'm not going to go through the entire row, but just to get you started, remember that your border stitch, you're going to go under both loops of the first stitch. You're going to pull up a loop. You're going to make sure that you move your tail out of the way so you're not crocheting your tail. Yarn over and attach that yarn, and then you're going to go under the same stitch under both loops, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, and then this entire row 1 is all single crochets in the back loop only. So you're just working in that. There's your front loop and there's your back loop. So you're going to work this row all the way to the end. You have 1 stitch remaining, and that will be your ending border stitch. So you guys know how I like to begin, and I would like to begin with a little bit of gratitude. So today I am grateful for the shoes on my feet, the clothes on my back, and the roof over my head. I am grateful for the clean water that flows freely from my faucet and the food in my cupboards. I am grateful for all of my families and all of my friends. May they be healthy, safe, and blessed. I am grateful for all of you who are following along on these YouTube videos. I am grateful that I have topped over 500 subscribers, and that is just amazing to me. And I am grateful for your support, your comments, and your questions. May you all be healthy, safe, and blessed. What are you grateful for today? Let me know in the comments below. So go ahead and crochet all the way to the end of the row and do your ending border stitch. and you're going to do row 2 the same way, but in your color B. And I will see you guys on row 3. Okay guys, I have finished my row 1 and 2. So here is my row 1 and here is my row 2. So we're moving on to row 3. Row 3 is in the description below. And we are going to use our color A, which is our background color. And we're going to start with our beginning border stitch. Put your hook under both loops of your first stitch. Pull up a loop. Move your tail out of the way. Yarn over and secure that yarn. And we're going to go under the same stitch under both loops. Pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, and then tighten that up just a little bit. So row 3, we're going to start with 2 double crochets, and your double crochets are in the front loop of the row below. So here's my first stitch. I'm going to put my double crochet in this stitch right here below it. So yarn over, put your hook through. You have 3 loops on your hook. Yarn over, pull through 1 loop, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, pull through 2 loops. And we're going to do a second double crochet. And that's how we start that row, with a border stitch and 2 double crochets. And then we're going to move into our repeat stitches. Those are the stitches between the brackets. We repeat those series of stitches 5 times. So this is the first time we'll be doing these series of stitch. So it's fairly simple, this row. You're going to double crochet 3, single crochet 17, and then double crochet 3. So let's go ahead and double crochet 3. 1, 2, 3. And then you're going to single crochet 17 in the back loop only. So here's my front loop and here's my back loop. So let's do 17. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, and then we end with 3 double crochets. So here's my next stitch. My double crochet is right below that. 1, 2, and 3. So then we're going to start over with those stitches in between the brackets, and we're going to do 3 double crochets, 17 singles, and 3 doubles. So we do our 3 doubles, one, two, and 3, and then move on to 17 single crochets. So essentially, if you look at this row, you're doing 17 singles, 6 doubles, 17 singles, 6 doubles. You're doing that all the way down the row. So there you have it. I will meet you at the end of this row. Okay guys, I am coming to the end of this row. So remember what I said in an earlier video, that your row 3 is kind of important. Well, all the rows are important, but you really want to pay attention to your row 3. So when you're done with row 3, go back and check your stitch count. Make sure it's right. When you come to the end of this row, I'm going to finish off with my last 3 double crochets. So there's 1, 2, and 3. So that's the end of the repeat stitches. And then we have 3 stitches that aren't counted in the pattern to complete, and that would be 2 double crochets and a border stitch. So when I came to my end of my row, I can see that I have enough for 2 doubles and 1 border stitch. But I will go back and check my stitches and my count. So that's 1, and 2, and then my ending border stitch. You put your hook under both loops of the last stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2 loops. I'm going to keep our hook on our yarn. We're going to cut our yarn, leaving a tail. Yarn over and pull that tail all the way through, and then gently tighten that up. So that's the end of row 3, and this is what you should be looking at. Let's see if I can pull this up a little bit here. Oops. And that is row 3. And let's move on to row 4. Okay guys, we're on to row 4. Row 4, we're using our color B, which is our pattern color, and I'm using red. Row 4 has quite a number of stitch changes, so just take your time. You'll find your rhythm within the pattern. But yeah, just take your time. So we're going to start with our border stitch. And then we are going to do 2 single crochets in the back loop only. It's 1 and 2. And then we move into our repeat stitches. I like to take it 2 sets at a time. So our first set of stitches, we need 3 singles and 1 double. So that's 1, 2, 3, and 1 double crochet. I'm going to drop down to that row below for our double crochets. So our next set, 2 singles, 1 double. 1 single, 2 singles, and 1 double. And our next set of stitches, 2 singles, 1 double. Just 1, 2 singles, and 1 double. Our next set of stitches, we have 3 singles and 1 double. One, 2, 3, and 1 double. Our next set of stitches, we have 2 singles and 1 double. One, 2, and 1 double. Our next set of stitches, we have 2 singles and 1 double. And we're going to end with 3 singles, and then we start our repeat stitches over again. So we go back to the beginning of that, which is starting with 3 single crochets. And you see how that works out because you have 3 spaces for single crochets. You wouldn't be able to work double crochets in these. See, and remember that your double crochets, you're always working into the same color as your working yarn. So go ahead and repeat that set of stitches 4 more times and I'll meet you at the end. So guys, I'm on my last repeat and I did find the rhythm to this pattern. I don't know if you guys know what I mean by rhythm, but sometimes I don't know, there's this rhythm. So I'm just going to do this last repeat and say out loud what I mean by rhythm. So 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, 3, 1 double. 1, 1, 1, 2 singles. 1, 1, 2, 2, 1, 1, 1, 2, 2, 2, 2, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, 3, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 2, 2, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 2, 2, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, 3. That's how my brain works. That's what I mean by finding your rhythm. I don't know if that makes any sense, but I thought I'd share that with you. So that was the fifth repeat, the end of my fifth repeat for row number 4. And we're going to end with 2 singles and a border stitch. I have enough for my 2 singles and my border stitch. So that's 1, 2, and my border stitch. That is the end of row 4. Just gonna cut my yarn here. Leaving a tail. Yarn over, pull that through, tighten that up a little bit, and that's the end of row 4, and that's what you should be looking at. And I will see you guys at the beginning of row 5. Okay guys, we're on row 5 and we're using color A, which is our pattern color. I'm using beige. And we're going to start this row with our beginning border stitch. Remember to put your hook under both loops of that stitch. And we're going to start with 2 double crochets. That's 1 and 2. Okay, so now we move into our repeat stitches, starting with 3 doubles and 4 singles. So right off the bat I can see that I'm on the right track. I can see where my 4 doubles are going to go right here. 3 doubles, 1, 2, 3. So we'll do our 3 doubles. 1, 2, and 3. And 4 singles. 1, 2, 3, and 4. In our next set of stitches, we're doing 1 double, 2 singles. 1 double, 1, 2 singles. 1 and 2. Our next set of stitches, we're doing 3 doubles, 2 singles. You see where those 3 doubles are going? 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, and 3. And then 2 singles. 1, 2. Our next set of stitches, we have 1 double and 4 singles. 1 double, 4 singles, 1, 2, 3, and 4. And we're going to end our repeats with 3 double crochets. 1, 2, and 3. And then we're going to start those series of stitches over again. We're going to repeat those series of stitches 4 more times. This is what you should be looking at. And I'll meet you at the end of the row. Okay guys, I'm coming to the end of row 5, and I'm just going to be doing my last 3 doubles. So that's 1, 2, 3. Oops, I'm sorry. 1, 2, 3, and then I should have enough for 2 more doubles, 1, 2, and a border stitch, which I do. So let's do, oops. It's 1, 2, and 3. That's the end of my 5th repeat, and then I'm going to do 2 doubles and a border stitch. That's 1 and 2. And then we do our border stitch. Cut our yarn. And that is the end of row 5, and this is what you should be seeing in your pattern. So we're going to move on to row 6. Okay guys, we're moving on to row 6. Row 6, we're using our color B, which is our pattern color. I am using red. And we're going to start with our border stitch. Put your hook under both loops of the first stitch. Oops. Oh, I'm messing that up a little bit there. All right, let's try that again. There we go. Okay, and you want to make sure you move that tail out of the way so you're not crocheting in your tail. You're going to tighten that up. Okay, so in row 6, we're going to start with 2 singles. 1 and 2. So that's our first 3 stitches in the row, which is our border stitch and 2 singles. All right, and we're going to move right into our repeat stitches, and we're going to start with 8 single crochets and then 1 double crochet. Single crochets are always in the back loop. It's 1, 2, 3, 6, 7, and 8, and then 1 double, our next set of stitches is 5 singles, 1 double. 5 singles, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 1 double. And then we end with 8 singles. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. And then we're going to start those repeat stitches over again, starting with those 8 singles in the beginning. So go ahead and repeat those series of stitches 4 more times, and I'll see you at the end. Okay, I am at the end of row 6, and I've finished all my repeats, and now I'm going to end with 3 stitches, which will be 2 single crochets and my border stitch. So there's 1 and 2, and then my border stitch, which goes under both loops of the last stitch. Just going to cut my yarn here. There we have it. So that is the end of row 6. Let's see what you should be looking at here. That is the end of row 6. So that's what you have. And now we're moving on to row 7. Okay guys, we're on row 7. We're going to be using color A, which is our background color. I'm using beige. And we're going to start with our beginning border stitch. And 2 double crochets. So yarn over. Here's my next stitch. My double crochet is in the row below. That's 1 and 2. And now we begin our repeat stitches between the brackets. Our first set of stitches, we need 4 single crochets and 2 double crochets. There we go. 1, 2, 3, and 4, and now 2 double crochets. So here's my next stitch, and there's my double. One, and 2, our next set of stitches, 3 singles, 5 doubles. 1, 2, 3 singles. Now we move on to 5 doubles. We can see where our 5 doubles are going to go. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Our next set of stitches, 3 singles and 2 doubles. 1, 2, 3, and 2 doubles. 1 and 2. And we're going to end with 4 single crochets. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And those are our repeat stitches. So let's go ahead and repeat those stitches between the brackets 4 more times, and I'll meet you at the end. Okay, I'm at the end of row 7, and I just finished all of my repeats, and I'm going to end with 2 doubles and a border stitch. It's 1, 2, and then our border stitch under both loops of the last stitch. That's the end of row 7, and this is what you should be looking at. Oops. End of row 7. And now we're moving on to row 8. Okay, on to row 8. Row 8, we're using color B, which is our pattern color. I'm using red. And we're going to start with our beginning border stitch, putting your hook under both loops of the first stitch, pulling up a loop, moving your tail out of the way, yarn over, pull that through and secure that yarn, and then once again under the same stitch, under both stitches, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, and tighten that up a little bit. So in this row, we're going to start with 2 single crochets. And that's 1 and 2. And then we're moving right into our repeat stitches between the brackets. And our first set of stitches, we have 3 singles and 1 double. It's 1, 2, and 3, and then 1 double crochet. Here's my next stitch. My double is in the row below. So yarn over, and there's my double. Our next set of stitches, 2 single crochets and 1 double. 1, 2, and 1 double. Our next set of stitches is going to be 9 single crochets and 1 double crochet. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9, and then 1 double crochet. Our next set of stitches will be 2 singles and 1 double. 1, 2, and 1 double crochet. And then we end with 3 single crochets. 1, 2, and 3. And those are our repeat stitches. You're going to go ahead and repeat those series of stitches 4 more times, and I'll meet you at the end. Okay, I am at the end of row 8, and I have just my last 3 stitches to do, which is 2 single crochets in my border stitch. So there's 1, 2 singles, and the border stitch. And that is row 8. And this is where you should be in your pattern. Now we're going to move on to row 9. Okay, here we excuse me. Here we are at row 9. In row 9 we're using our color A, which is our background color, and I'm using beige. And you're going to start with our border stitch and 2 double crochets for our first 3 stitches. Start with our border stitch. And then 2 double crochets. One and 2. We're going to move on to our stitches between the bracket, which is our repeat stitches. We repeat these series of stitches 5 times in this lapghan. So let's start with our first set of stitches, which will be 3 doubles and 4 singles. So right away I can see where my 3 doubles are going. Right here, 1, 2, and 3. 2, 3, and then 4 single crochets in the back loop only. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Our next set of stitches, 3 double crochets, 3 single crochets. So 3 doubles, 1, 2, and 3. And then 3 singles. In the back loop only, 1, 2, and 3. Our next set of stitches, we have 3 doubles and 4 singles. So 3 doubles, 1, 2, and 3. And 4 singles. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And we're going to end with 3 doubles. 1, 2, and 3. And those are our repeat stitches. We're going to repeat those series of stitches 4 more times, and I'll meet you at the end of this row. Okay, I'm at the I'm at the end of row 9, and I'm going to do my last 3 stitches, which is 2 double crochets and a border stitch. So that's 1 and 2, and our border stitch. And there is our row 9, and this is what you should be looking at for row 9. And we're going to move on to row 10. Okay, on to row 10. Row 10, we are using color B, which is our pattern color, and we are going to start with our border stitch and then 2 single crochets. Let's go ahead and start with that border stitch. Start over here. And 2 singles. 1 and 2. And then we move into our repeat stitches between the brackets. In our first set of stitches, we have 10 singles and 1 double. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 and 10 and 1 double. Our next set of stitches is 1 single, 1 double. 1 single and 1 double. And then we end with 10 singles. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. And that's what we should be looking at here. So go ahead and finish up. Repeat those series of stitches 4 more times and I'll meet you at the end. Okay, here we are at the end of row 10. And I am going to do my last 3 stitches, which in this case will be 2 singles and 1 border stitch. So there's 1 and 2 singles and our border stitch. We're going to cut that yarn and pull that through. So that's the end of row 10, and this is what you should have currently. So I'm going to end this video here. We have 7 more rows to do in this pattern. I will upload that video tomorrow with the final 7 rows. And then I'll also explain what you need to do next once you finish this pattern. So there you have it for right now. And I'll see you guys tomorrow. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.